All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to yoga. So I am Ann Casapini, and my goal for today is to share with you some yoga poses to build better bone strength and better muscular strength. And my approach is going to be, we're going to hold poses for about 20 to 30 seconds if you can do it, which is really maybe 3 or 4 breaths long, slow breaths long. And I'm going to show you 3 variations of each pose. We'll do 3 on the left and 3 on the right for poses that are sided like that. We'll go from the osteoporosis version, which is the easiest, most delicate, osteopenia version, a little bit harder, and then prevention. So you're free to just do 1 or 2, like warm-ups, or 3. The third one, you can do 1 or 2 or 3 poses, and we'll work that way and play that way and explore that way. I'm using, just so you know, I'm using this as my reference, Yoga for Osteoporosis by Ellen Saltonstall and Dr. Lauren Fishman. Great resource. Our library has it if you want to get it out. All right, let's take a moment to get centered, please. So this class is a little more workshop-y as opposed to like a usual class with flow. So I invite you to have patience with it. You might need a wall space, a chair, a block. We would like to use all those props. All right, time for centering. Take a moment to find a comfortable seat, please. And just place your feet on the floor. If you're sitting on the chair, your feet are going to be grounded on the floor. And the weight is even, it's balanced. The weight under your sit bones is also balanced, and you can just lay your hands on your lap and let that feeling of symmetry be under your hands as well. Please lean back ever so slightly. Maybe close your eyes, or 3/4 close your eyes and gaze at a point on the floor in front of you. And gently breathe in and breathe out. Connecting to your breath, so valuable, so calming. Gently breathe in and breathe out. Gently breathe in and breathe out. Welcome yourself to your practice. Silently welcome each other. So glad to have you on this virtual Zoom. We can let that go now, and I invite you to listen in a little bit. So osteoporosis is porous bone, and men as well as women can develop it. What I want to try today is, explaining, well, just briefly, that yoga is great for this condition because it doesn't have impact, right? We don't want to like slam the body in with impactful kind of exercises. When we put stress on the bones, it makes stronger bones. So this is what we're going to explore today. So first, I want you to get a sense of how long 20 seconds is, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my phone like a little timer, use the timer on it. Hold on. When I say go, I want you to just sit and breathe and count how many breaths fill 20 seconds. Ready? Go. Just take smooth inhalation through the nostrils. Smooth exhalation out the nostrils. That's 20 right there. So remember your number. For me, it's about 3. And let's just try it one more time. In case you want to hold the poses 30 seconds, I want you to feel that, okay? Ready? Go. Just breathe. Okay, remember your numbers. And we'll play with that as we do the practices today. All right. So please, I invite you to come to your mat. We're going to start with a little bit of just moving the joints to warm up. Then we'll do some principal exercises, what I call principal exercises, and then we'll get into the poses. All right. So if you'd like to have a chair here, in case you need to hold on for balance, do that. You're just going to put all your weight on one foot and just pick up the other and roll out the ankle, please. Just draw some smooth circles. Since it's cold out today, want to warm up your joints a bit. And then switch. Roll out your ankle. Yep. And breathe. And place your feet on the floor, bend your knees, do a few circles, gentle circles. Yep, feel the floor under your feet. Yep, and breathe. And come to standing, separate your feet a little wider, soften the knees in a soft bend, and just do hip circles. Very gently. And the other way. And breathe. You got it. Good. Now put your hands on your lower back, like this on the lower ribs. And what I want you to try is fan your elbows forward and round your back. So fan your elbows forward and then lift the chest and squeeze the elbows back behind you. And then fan them forward, get full at the back of the waistline, knees are bent. And then lift the chest, squeeze your elbows back behind you. One more, elbows forward, rounding the back. Lift the chest, squeeze the elbows toward each other. Nice. Excellent. Now roll the shoulders up and back and down. And back and up and down. You got it. Nice. Yeah, placing the hands on the knees. Take a yoga huddle like this. Exhale, round. Inhale, release the spine. Look forward, arching the back. Exhale, round. Keep going. I'm just going to let someone into class. Keep going. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Stay there. Hands on hips. Squeeze the elbows together. Come up to standing. Good. Now please take your chin to your chest. Feel the stretch in the back of your neck. Then lift the head. Now look all the way left, center. All the way right, center. Go to the first side again. Draw a half circle to the front chest only. And a half circle to the front chest only. Go gently. Notice any sounds your neck makes. Notice any tightness. Yeah. And come on back up. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up. Exhale, release. Good, good. Inhale, shrug up. Exhale, release. All right, one more. Wrists. Interlace your hands like this. Roly-poly. And then the other way. Yeah. Good. Nice. And release. Okay. So now I want you to try, I'm just looking at my menu here. I want to explore 3 opposite actions. We're going to use these actions as we hold the poses. So I want you to be familiar with the terms and the actions. So the first is you're going to stand, we want to think about rooting down, rising up, those opposites. So with your feet sitting bone distance apart, hands on hips, look at your feet, press the 4 corners of your feet down. So that's the big toe mounds, the inner heels, the pinky toe mounds, outer heels, and bend your knees. So you're going to send the energy down, yeah? Even with your hands. Press down, get rooted. Nice. Now from there, go ahead, keeping those 4 points pressing, lift and spread your 10 toes. So now there's upward energy. Can you feel that? It lifts the inner and outer arches of your feet and engages the quads. There's a lifting up energy. Yeah, and now just release the toes, stay rooted, and notice when you root down, there's a rebounding effect in the upper body. There's a lifting effect, a more light feeling in the upper body. Okay, so rooting and rising, we're going to play with those 2 opposites. Now, I also want you to play with drawing in, contracting, and expanding out. Let's play with the arms. So from the side, lift your arms up like this. Oh no, actually, I think this way it'll be easier to feel it. Bend the elbows, upper arms parallel to floor. Maybe I'll come closer to the camera so you can see me better. There. So your arms are like this. Retract from your elbow back into your shoulder socket. And then press out. So pull in to the shoulder socket, press out. Pull in, press out. Feel that? Yeah. Let's play with the legs a little bit with that. So you can hold the back of your chair, step the right leg back. So you're in a parallel lunge, front knee vertical over ankle. Lift the back heel. You're going to feel a pulling in action. Imagine you're drawing from your feet up the legs, drawing energy from your feet up the legs, all the way into the bottom of your pelvis. You'll know you're contracting because you'll feel the gastrocnemius engage, the calf muscle, and you'll feel the hips lift. Keeping that sense of drawing upwards into the pelvis. Now expand out. Your thigh bones go in opposite direction of each other. Can you feel that? Press out front of the knee, the front knee, and out the back heel. Let's try that with breath. Pull in, contract, expand out. Contraction, expanding. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, let's do the other side just to even up a little bit. And this is part of our warm-up, so it's nice to explore this for a couple of reasons. Knee over ankle, you've switched your legs. You're on the tiptoes of your back foot. Pull in, the back heel lifts. Can you see that? Exhale, stretch it out. Pull in, you're breathing in. Exhale, stretch the bones in opposite direction of each other. One more. Breathe in and breathe out. Yes. Okay. So again, contraction, expansion. Now take a block. No. Have your block ready to go. First, we'll do the arms, the upper body. So the other pair of opposites that I want to explore is inner spiral, outer spiral. And I know I'm talking a little quickly because I want to get through a lot of material today. So let's see how it goes. Bring your arms like this, please. Elbows are out, shoulder height. And notice what happens in your upper arm when you drop your hands toward the floor. Notice what happens in your shoulders. This is inner spiral. Even bow a little bit so you really feel that. Going like this. That's the movement. Try that again. You're here and you bring the hands to the floor and you round your back, and that's an inner spiral in the upper arm. Go back to the start position. Now let's do the opposite. Take the hands and elbows behind your shoulders. Lift the heart. This is external rotation. Can you feel that? So the inside of the upper arm moves to the back. You see? So that's external rotation. So we'll play with that in the arms. Internal, external rotation. And let's play with the legs. And don't worry, you don't have to remember all this. I'll help you through it. I'll remind you. So this one's kind of funny. It's a principal exercise. Please stand in mountain pose, Tadasana pose. Put a block between your thighs as high up as it'll go, a couple inches showing in front. I want you to please squeeze the block, find your adductors, and move it back behind you without your hands. Can you feel how your thighs roll in? The sit bones move back and apart. That's an inner spiral. And now, take your hands, brush the buttock flesh down, draw the tailbone down, keep the thighs perpendicular to the floor. Squeeze the block and take it a little more forward. Now you're going to feel, when you do that, watch, inner spiral of the thighs there, and then outer spiral. Can you feel that? I like to put my fingers here. I roll in toward an imaginary line drawn between my legs or toward the block. That's rolling in. And then this is coming away, in toward the midline, out. And why are we doing that? Because we want the pelvis to be balanced. So in other words, if you're more here and you walk around, you're overarched. Your pelvis, if it were a bowl of water, would spill the water forward. If you were here, like many people do, they crunch their lower back. Imagine squeezing the block forward. Then you're crunching the lower back, your thighs are popping forward, and you'd be spilling water back behind you. So you want the pelvis to be level. This is optimal alignment. We're getting into optimal alignment. And speaking of alignment, okay, well, first, those were the three opposites: rooting and rising, contracting, expanding, inner and outer. Okay. The next thing, before we get to the poses, the last thing before we get to the poses, I want to set up the curves of the spine, the natural curves of the spine. So let's do it in Tadasana pose. Stand with your feet about 5 to 7 inches apart, toes pointing forward. Again, it's about inner and outer. So remember what we just did with the block. You roll your thighs in, your sit bones move back and apart. You kind of bow to yourself a little bit. You move your thighs back. And then you draw the hands down from the back of the waistline, and the tailbone draws down till you feel a corresponding lift in the belly. Now your lower lumbar has a little curve, but not too much. It has a little concavity and some length. So yes, we want both. Good. And now what I want you to do is put your hands on your lower back, bow to yourself, get full at the back of the waistline. I'll show you from the side. I'm full at the back of the waistline, and then I lift my chest. Yeah, from the side, you want to see side of ear, side of shoulder, side of hip, side of knee, side of ankle, all in alignment. And you're not overarched like this, and you're not tucking, right? So you've got that lower lumbar curve, fullness here. And now the neck. The last is the neck. I'll just show you. Stay where you are. You don't want to be shooting forward like this, and you don't want to be jamming the chin back. So you want to try this. Just lift the chin a little bit. Get that concavity in the lower lumbar. I'm sorry, in the cervical spine. That concavity that mirrors the lower lumbar. That's how it came out of my mouth. Yeah. And then you want the length. So from the base of your skull, from the occipital bone, there's a telescoping upwards. We got, so feel that. Little curve, little lengthening. And you're in your Tadasana, you're in your mountain pose. So right from here, let's go right into some tree pose, Vrikshasana. The first option, you can use a wall. If you have trouble with balance, you can have your back to the wall, and you can also have a chair to your left. So the first option is this: ball of foot on floor, heel on inner ankle, one or both hands in the heart. And now I want you to hold it for 20 seconds. So let's breathe. Remember your breathing number. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. At your own pace, remember to root down, press down through the feet to feel that rebound effect rising up. More challenge here. Foot on inner calf. And you squeeze the foot into the calf and the calf into the foot. Good. That's version A. If you have osteoporosis, nice. The B version, will go right into it. Hands are shoulder width apart. I'm just going to move back so the camera will capture it. So again, if you're using the wall in case you need to, you can. You don't have to. So my hands are parallel. And again, take a few breaths here. Breathing in. Just coming closer to the camera. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Good. You can play with the shoulders here. You can lower the arms or retract the upper arm bones back and then reach up. So contracting, expanding. Working on contracting, expanding. Your quad is engaged. That's your thigh muscle. And then more challenge is to interlace your fingers like this. And max is putting the sole of foot to your inner thigh. If it stays, right? Let's see if it stays. And you're breathing. Have a little fun with it. Soften the eyes, the jaw. Tailbone down, navel lift. Inner thigh presses the sole of foot, and sometimes the foot doesn't want to stay, so you lower it down. And breathe, good, and release. Let's go to the other side. So again, you can choose your version. Option is to have your back at the wall, chair next to you. That's the easiest, most stable version with ball of foot on floor. When you get into a little bit more challenge, you don't hold on. You squeeze the foot. You raise the foot a little higher or higher still. And you're breathing. Squeeze to that imaginary line drawn down the center of your body. Ooh, can you hear my dog Rocky barking? He loves to bark at UPS trucks. Good, good. Try with the arms again. Reach forward. Retract the upper arm bones deep into the shoulder sockets, then lift your arms. Contracting, expanding. Imagine you squeeze everything into your midline, a line running down your center. And then expand out like you take up more room in the actual room you're in. Good, and breathe. And just think, by holding this pose very long, you're doing a good job for your bones. And release. All right, let's go right into powerful chair. You can have your back to a wall with your feet about 12 inches or so from the wall. You can have your hips to the wall if you like, and take your arms out like this, or you can do it in the middle of your mat. Arms out, shoulder height, open the fingers. Knees are parallel. They are as wide as your ankles. And important here is to press your navel towards spine and draw the tailbone down. And gently breathe in. And gently breathe out. Feel the floor. Gently breathe in. Gently breathe out. Remember, navel into body, tailbone down so you're not overarched. Good. And release. Next version, the hands are going to face front like this with straight arms. So you're going to bend your knees, lift the arms. I'll show you from the side. So my palms are facing front. I'm going to press my navel in towards spine and draw the tailbone down. Breathing in and breathing out. Good, good. And breathing in and breathing out. One more breath. And release. And the final version, the palms just face into your hips. They could start touching your hips. You root through the four corners of your feet. And when you're ready, you're sitting like you're sitting in a chair. Your feet are rooted. Your knees are not falling into each other and not opening out too wide to the pinkies. They're parallel. You're breathing. Your navel gently draws in towards spine, and the tailbone, the last bone of your spine, draws downward. So you have the core support. You have that little concavity in the lower lumbar, but you also have length. Really good. And release. And if you want to practice really specifically, not just counting your breaths, of course, you could use a timer for yourself, a stopwatch. All right, so the next pose that I want to share with you is down dog. We're going to do 3 versions. The first one is at the wall. It's arms are going to be up overhead and your feet are going to be about 18 inches from the wall. So let me excuse my back. Just let me show you how this looks. You go to a wall or a closet door will do. Bring your hands up over your head, a little wider than shoulder width apart. The center of the wrist is in line with your outer upper arms. What I want you to do is retract your upper arm bones into the shoulder socket. Hollow out your armpits, melt your heart forward. Hips back, thighs back. So I'm going to show you a little as if the wall were in front like this. I'm retracting my upper arm bones. I'm pressing my navel toward, and then melt the heart forward. So again, a contraction and a release or an expansive movement. Your feet are about 18 to 24 inches away from the wall. All 10 fingernail pads are on the wall. Press the base of index finger, base of thumb, base of pinky, base of outer palm, but pull the center of your wrist away from the wall. Pull the forearm away from the wall, the upper arm, the armpit hollers out. You bow, create like a valley between the shoulder blades. The hips are moving back, your thighs are moving back. Tailbone draws down, navel draws into spine. And breathe. Really good. Yeah. And of course, release it whenever you need to. So that's a good version if you have osteoporosis or if you're brand new to yoga. Next version, you use the back of a chair. We've done this many times together. Take the L position. Ankles under hips. Good. Look at your feet. The toes are pointing forward. You're going to bend your knees. Remember when you had the block between your legs before as our little exercise? Pretend you had the block between your legs. You're going to squeeze it and move it back. And then squeeze it again as if you were going to drag it forward a little bit, and you'll feel a lengthening in your tailbone. So another way of just saying that is just bend your knees, roll your inner thighs in, and pull back, like as if they were going to roll in and back. Yep. And then draw the tailbone, the last bone of your spine. Draw it back, draw your heart forward, melt between the shoulder blades. Gently breathe in and gently breathe out. Sometimes I like to bend my knees and lift and spread all 10 toes. Again, that energizes the muscles to firm to the bones, to firm to the joints, engages the quads more. A contractive engagement. And then I release and press downward. Yeah, so again, the rooting and rising movements, contracting, expanding movements. Then release. And the final version that we're going to do, well, actually, there's 2 more versions we could do today. Turn your chair around, please. Let's do what I call quarter dog. So you're standing in front of the chair. Please make sure the 4 feet of your chair are safely on your mat so it doesn't move forward. And if you're nervous about that, you could always put the back 2 legs of the chair at the base of a wall. Okay, so you're holding on and you step back. Feet are sitting bone distance apart. Once again, bend your knees, lift and spread your toes. You can even lift your heels a little bit. Engage more of the calf muscles. Lift the upper arms up away from the earth. Like the upper arms are going to lift up that way. Lift your navel and then stretch everything. So in down dog, like this, you can think hands pressed down and a little forward and feet pressed down and a little back, but it's isometric. They're not really going to move. So you're not overarching. You've got that core support. The front body is pressing upwards towards spine. And you're breathing in and you're breathing out. So when you practice like this, holding poses longer, it can take more patience, of course. We do less poses in an hour than we would normally do. But it is a wonderful opportunity to really go deep in your foundational poses. It's really quite powerful, actually. Gently breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And you can walk forward to release the pose, bend your knees, hands on hips, and come on up to standing. Now, some of you might like to do a full down dog, in which case your hands, we're going to come into a table pose. I want you to align your hands where your index fingers are parallel to each other, and you've got even spaces between your fingers. Let me show you that. And if you don't want to do that much weight bearing on your hands, please just watch this one and know that maybe in some time, like months or years, you'll be doing it too. So here we go. We start on all 4s. Then move, your wrists are underneath your armpits to start, but then move your hands 1 palm's distance forward from that. Look at your hands, index fingers parallel, even spaces between your fingers. Press down the base of your index finger, that large knuckle, and the base of your thumb. Good. Firm your hands and arms. Tuck your toes. You're going to lift your knees a little bit. You can bring them back down and rest, or you can lift them more, or all the way into downward facing dog. This is the full version of downward facing dog. Hands press down forward, feet press down back. Nod your head yes, nod your head no. Bend your knees, raise your sit bones high. Get that concavity in the lower lumbar area. And then you want the length. So you as you straighten your legs, you can reach your tailbone back. Reach your heart forward. And breathe. Yeah, this is obviously you're using the weight of your body to put some stress on your bones. Going to make them stronger. Remember, we want to hold poses 20, 30 seconds maybe, and build up even some poses to a minute. But this takes time. Yes, really good. And rest. Really good. Okay, now we're going to go into Warrior 2. Now, I just came out of that pose a little too quickly. Don't do what I just did. Take your time to come out of a pose and go into a pose, because that's when people can injure themselves. You want to be more mindful in the way you come out of a pose. All right, now, please take your chair, put it on the back 2 feet of your chair on the long edge of the mat. Warrior 2. Now, if you happen to have a lot of wall space at home and you want to put the long edge of the mat to a wall for a little more support in this first version, you would then have your chair closer to you. And you would let's start with everyone. Let's do, I'll do opposite of you. So you could put your right hip on the wall. The other hip is off the wall, and you would have the chair in front of you. So you would have access to support by the wall and support by the chair. But some of you don't have the luxury of a wall, so you can just use the chair. Take a wide stance. Open your right toes 90 degrees. Angle your back toes in a little bit. From here, holding onto the chair, bend that front knee. Try to get it so that the knee is vertical over the ankle. Try to bring your spine straight up and down, perpendicular to the floor. The back leg is straight. The thigh is rolling in. The front thigh, the front knee is bent. And from the top of the top part of your thigh, it's going to kind of roll to the outer edge. Yeah. Okay. Good. Toward the wall behind you. Yeah. Lift the front arm. If you can, you're going to stay here 20 to 30 seconds. The full expression of the pose will be lifting the arms. So you pick which variation you need to do today. And breathe. The gaze is over the middle fingers of your front hand. Again, any version is good. Really good. To come out of it, you're going to press down into your feet, press into the chair, and turn your feet around. So if you're at the wall, now your left hip, and I'm doing opposite of you, your left hip would touch the wall. And you could have the support of the chair as well. Or, like I'm doing in the middle of my mat, I'm using chair, but no wall. Bend the front knee, back leg is straight. Notice my back heel is wider than my back toes. That helps inner spiral this back leg. And then this front thigh, I like to put my thumb at the top outer edge of my thigh and anchored down. Yeah, so you feel that external rotation. Put a little more energy into your back hand so your spine is as straight up and down as you can make it. And here you are, warrior two. Root, feel the feet. The more you bend the front knee and root into your feet, then your spine can get a rebound effect of rising upwards. You can pretend you're on ice and play with the contraction expansion opposites. So if you were on ice and your feet were slipping out, you'd try to pull them in, right? So try to do that. Just pull them in. They don't move. Can you feel that? Pull your feet in toward each other. And then from the bottom of your pelvis, press energy down the legs back into the feet as if you were going to take them wider. They don't move, but you can do it on your breath too. You inhale, pull in. You exhale, you stretch out a little wider. Yeah, feel your thigh bones move out in opposite direction of each other. So when you play with the three opposite actions, it can make that 20, 30 seconds go by very fast. So the pose can look static, but it's not static. You're doing a lot. If you have any knee issues, here's another tip. You can root the four corners of that front foot, but lift and spread those 5 toes. What does that do? That makes the muscles firm to the bones and firm to the joints. More protection. It's like putting an ace bandage around your joint. Very good. Straighten the front leg. Parallel the feet. And walk in. Very good. All right, now we're going to do Prasarita Padottanasana. All right, let me show you that pose. I'm going to move the chair a little forward, but I want the feet on the mat, okay? So you can hold on, take a wide stance like this, wide legs standing forward fold. And here, you're just going to bow forward. I'm pushing my chair a little forward so I could straighten my arms. So here we go. I'm bowing the torso forward. I'm using the support of the chair. This is a good version for osteoporosis people. Feet are parallel and wide. Move your inner thighs back in space. You'll feel more the arch of the lower lumbar spine. Then draw your tailbone back to the wall behind you and lift your navel. You'll feel some length coming into the lower lumbar area. That's great. Lift your upper arm bones away from the floor as we practiced in half dog just earlier in the class. Melt the heart between the shoulder blades. Create like a valley between the wings of your back, the scapula. Can you feel that nice stretch at the backs of your legs? Good. Yeah. The next version of this, should you choose to go into it, you could turn the chair around and bring your forearms onto the seat of the chair. So you're going a little bit deeper in the pose, using the weight of your upper body. Gently breathe in and gently breathe out. And if you're tired and you want to come out, just toe heel your feet together and gently come up to standing. And then the final version, the prevention version, would be hands on floor or even 2 blocks. Releasing the weight of the head, the neck, the torso, the shoulders, and gently breathing. Feet are evenly weighted both on the inner and outer edges of your feet. You can inhale, bend your knees, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend, exhale, straighten. Sometimes I like to put my hands on my outer lower legs and press in, adduct a little bit, and then try to widen my inner thighs apart and my sit bones apart. Yeah, so we play with that inner and outer spiral business. Yeah. Lift your navel. Really good. Do not come out of this pose quickly. Go slowly because your head has been below your heart. So toe heel, or grab your chair so you can press your hands onto the chair to slowly come up. Slowly, really slowly. Press your hands on your thighs. Slowly come up. If you got it all dizzy, just turn right around and sit down, please. Yeah, you're doing great. Let me look at my menu. Let's see what's next. Oh, this one I love. Okay, this one is, we're going to do 3 versions of push-ups. Wall push-ups, chair, using a chair with push-ups, and then gentle mini push-ups. It's all gentle, so don't worry. So the actions that I want to talk about that I want you to keep in mind, because the first one, you're going to put your hands on the wall, right? And they're going to be about shoulder height, about there. And your elbows are going to be bent. I'm just giving you the overview before we go into it. What you're going to do is you're going to retract the upper arm bones into the shoulder socket. Did you see that? I'll do it again. Retract. So like a pulling back action. So your shoulder blades will be more on the back. That's going to give you some strength. And then your whole body in one piece is going to tilt forward into the push-up. We'll go in and out of it a few times, and then we'll hold it for as long as you can, like 20 seconds. Okay, so let me show you that. You go to a wall. Again, excuse my back. You go to a wall, bring your hands placed on the wall about shoulder height. So my fingernails are about level with my shoulder. Palms are on the wall. Elbows are bent. And you're going to retract your upper arm bones back so you feel your shoulder blades squeeze in towards spine. Your feet are going to be at least 18 to 24 inches away from the wall. Let me say that again. Your feet are at least 18 to 24 inches away from the wall. Okay, so now you're going to lean your whole entire body in toward the wall and then press out. Make sure your hips go along for the ride and press out. The whole body, okay, the whole body is leaning in and leaning out. Just imagine I have a wall right here in front of me. I just want to show you how I'm not pulling my hips back like that. No, I'm leaning in and leaning out. So my elbows are bent and they straighten a little bit, but not all the way. Okay, navel towards spine, tailbone down, very important. Navel towards spine, tailbone down. You've repeated that a few times, and now I want you to just hold it. You're leaning in, your entire body is leaning in, but you can keep your heels on the floor. Navel presses back towards spine, tailbone down, and you hold it and you breathe. Tailbone down, navel lifts, and then release. That was good. Yes, the next version of that is using the chair. And again, you could, ideally, you want to put the chair against the base of a wall so it doesn't move. But I'm going to do it like this so you could see me better on the camera. Here, if you choose to do this version, it helps to have a blanket under your knees. So look, I'm here. I'm on my knees, my old twos. I'm going to hold the chair, and it's really the same kind of thing. You retract your upper arm bones back, right? You see how my torso kind of melts between my upper arms. I'm going to move my knees back a little bit more. And I want you to bend elbows and straighten. The torso in one piece down to your knees, right? The torso, the hips, the thighs go forward and back. Make sure your chair doesn't move. Navel towards spine, tailbone down, you see? So you do that a few times. Go in and out, and then you're going to hold it. This is the Osteopenia version. Hold it as long as you can. You're breathing. Let the breath be your guide. If you're holding your breath, you're trying too hard, right? Yeah. I like to do that when I'm making my coffee in the morning against the counter, the sink. Do it like that. All right, now you can think of it like yoga in motion, right? The next version, it's the prevention version. So if you have no problems with your shoulders, and you feel strong enough to do it, again, this is a pose that makes your bones strong and your muscles strong. You're on all fours. Take your hands a little bit forward of where they were. You started with the wrists underneath the armpits, and then you're going to move them about one palm forward. Knees on floor, toes tucked under. Lift your navel. It feels like you round your back here. Make sure you're not going to hit your head on any chairs. And what you do here is you just go bend the elbows. You hug the elbows in toward each other. You go down 2 inches and you come back up. That's it. Modified push-ups. You go in and out. Hands are rooted. Index fingers parallel. Base of index finger pressing into the floor so there's no space, no air, no light that you could see under the big knuckle of your index finger. And then you hold it. Lift your navel. Draw your tailbone toward the pubic bone. Hold it, hold it, hold it. As long as you can. Breathe. Oh, yeah. And let it go. So you can see how over time, this is really going to change the way you feel in your poses, the way you feel in your body. It's going to build strong bones. It's going to build strong muscles. But it's gentle. Do you see how there's no impact? We're not slamming. We're not like jamming, jogging the spine, landing hard every time. It's gentle stress. Remember, it's something called Wolff's Law. When you put stress on a bone at the point of stress, that tells the body to grow bone. It sets in motion your natural repairing processes. All right, the next thing I want to do with you, I want to do something for your abs. So you can come to sit on the floor. The first version would be with your chair at the wall so it doesn't slip out. I'm going to put mine there so I can face you. Like that. You're sitting in front of the chair. And you remember boat pose? Maybe you remember. I'm going to show it to you from the side so you see. Your knees are bent. Your hands are to the floor. You lift your chest, get your shoulder blades on the back. And then you lean back and you lift one shin, other shin. But we're going to support the back with the chair. So now you have the idea. Sit in front of the chair, maybe a foot away from the chair is where you're sitting. Take your hands to the sides of your hips and a little back. Press down to help you lift your chest. So you root your fingertips to lift the heart. Root to rise. Squeeze your elbows together, shoulder blades on your back. Lean back so that you rest your shoulders, the backs of your shoulders on the chair. You could still lift the heart. And then lift one shin, other shin. This is Osteopenia version. Lift the heart. You can alternate for both legs lifting. Let me show you from the side so you have a better view. You're doing great, by the way, everybody. Thanks for hanging in. Okay, so notice I'm here. So again, ideally you want the chair at the wall so it's not going to move, but I'm just going to show you for the camera. Root into your hands. Lift the heart. You see? Shoulder blades on my back now. And I rest on the chair a little bit. I hold behind my thighs. I lift one shin, other shin. Alternate that. Keep lifting the heart. Maybe lift both shins. And stay there and breathe. Lift the heart. Shoulder blades on the back. And you're breathing. Good, good. Release when you need to. The next version of that is without the chair. You lift the heart, or you can press down to lift. Lean back, find your balance. Maybe you're going to straighten the legs. Osteopenia version. And you're holding and you're breathing and you spread the toes. Make sure you don't fall back like that. But if you do, you can take a break. And then the final version would be, I'll turn the other way just for fun. Prevention version, again, press into your, this is an important part. You press the hands down to lift the chest. Squeeze your elbows together, get those shoulder blades on the back. Lean back a little bit. Hold your thighs. Lift one shin, other shin. Test the waters, straighten the legs, and then maybe you get to the point where you don't hold on. Yeah, but the game is, can you hold it? Can you hold it like that? And again, I don't want to tire you out. I just want to show you the variations. From here, just got a couple more poses I want to do with you today, then we'll finish with a nice meditation. So the next pose I want to do is Cobra. Now this one, super important. For all of the paraspinal muscles along your back, right? So often, right, we see as people age, they develop what's called kyphosis, right? That's the that's where the upper back is rounded, like that. And what happens is the front spine gets so weak. That's where fractures can happen. So we really are so blessed to be in yoga, to know about yoga, to do yoga, because we're not going to get there. We are going to keep that front spine as strong as the back spine. Yeah, so this next one, Cobra variation, is very, very good for that, essential. Okay. So please come now onto your belly. Yeah, you're going to lay down on the floor. All right. Rest your forehead on the floor right now, please. Take your feet outer hip width apart. Now, one at a time, stretch one leg long, like you're pulling your leg longer. You're pulling it out of your hip socket and then put it down on the floor. And stretch the other leg long, 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 away from your hips and put it on the floor. Keeping that nice length that you've created. I want you to press your tailbone down, the last bone of your spine, as if someone were standing on it. And you're going to keep that action going. So toes press, tailbone presses, navel lifts. Keeping all of that, please come onto your elbows and forearms. Sphinx pose of the arms. Elbows are underneath armpits. Forearms and wrists are parallel. Open the fingers. This is the pose. This is what I want you to do. If you have osteoporosis, you're going to stay here and breathe, but I'm going to give you a couple actions. Toes press, tailbone presses, navel lifts. Isometrically drag your elbows back toward the hips, meaning they don't move, but it's as if you were gonna slide the elbows back, but you don't really. So you pull the elbows and forearms and hands back. What do you feel? You will probably feel your torso pull forward in the opposite direction, pulling out of your waistline, pulling out of the lower lumbar to give you some more room there. And please press your elbows and forearms and hands down. That helps you lift your chest a little more. Can you feel that? So that rooting to rise action, that pressing down to lift the heart a little bit more, lift the upper shoulders a little bit more. And you breathe. Of course, I don't want you to go to pain. If this hurts you, then it's time to come out of it. Maybe you're going to start with holding the poses 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and you'll work your way up to 20, 30 seconds. Just meet yourself where you are. That's super important. Please rest now. Make a forearm pillow, turn your head to one side. Just rest. Sometimes I like to wiggle out my hips a little bit. Yeah, good. Now, the next version, Osteopenia version. And again, you always feel free to watch. You don't have to do every version. The next version is you slide your elbows back, pull your hands back so that your fingernails are about just level with the front of the top of your shoulder. I want you to turn your hands out toward your pinkies. So they're fanning out in the direction of the long edges of the mat. Once again, Press toes and tailbone, lift navel. Press hands, and I want you to lift your head, lift your shoulders. Notice now your forearms are off the floor, your elbows are a little bit off the floor. Now don't stress. You don't have to lift very high to get the benefit. You're here, your hands are pressing actively, your feet are pressing actively, tailbone presses actively. Gaze down the bridge of your nose, tailbone down, navel's lifting. Notice my forearms are off the floor, my elbows are off the floor. I'm wide across the top chest. I can hug my elbows in toward each other. Breathing, yes. Breathing, noticing, building strong bone, building strong muscles. And rest, make a forearm pillow. Please turn your head to the other side. Now the third version, for those that might be interested in that third version, you could repeat what we just did, but instead of pressing your hands down, you actually lift your hands 1/4 of an inch off the floor. I'll just show you that. Yeah, okay. Don't strain though, you've done enough. You can feel free to listen or just watch. So once again, your hands are under your shoulders, you're pointing your fingers out. Toes press, tailbone presses, hands start out pressing the ground. Lift your navel. And then what the more challenge is to lift your hands 1/4 of an inch off the floor. So now you don't have the assistance of your hands. You are just using your muscles. And you're breathing. Maybe hold it 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 4 breaths. See how it goes. And need to rest. Big breath in, long breath out. You'll be happy to know the next pose, all you have to do is turn over on your back. Yeah, bridge. Let's do bridge. And first, just turn on your back before you think about the next pose. Just rest. Let the floor be a welcome surface for your spine. So you just did some back bend, right? So your lower back probably feels the work. I know mine does. And that's where I have osteoporosis, actually. Just found out. So you want to rest. You might be tempted to pull your knees in right away and do like a round the back position, but don't. Resist that. Just lay in a more neutral position right now for a minute. Just breathe. Yeah, very good. All right. So here's the thing. If you have props and you'd like to use a blanket and a block for this next bridge variation, then I'm going to show you. If you don't have it, just stay where you are. So if you have a blanket, a yoga blanket, you could put it like this. And grab a block. You'll lay back on it, and the blanket can just go to the top of your sacrum, that triangular bone at the base of your spine. Yeah. So the knees are bent. Oh, I lost my little earbud. Okay, here we go. So the knees are bent, and you're going to press into your feet and place the block so that the flat surface, the lowest surface, is under your sacrum, like this. Yeah, like that. Okay, good. Find your ankles under your knees, bend your elbows. Elbows are touching your ribs. Fingers point to the sky. All right, so this can feel very, very nice, just hanging out here. Feet press, elbows press, back of head presses, so your eyes are looking above eyebrows. Yeah, so you can hang out here and breathe. Stretch your knees to your big toes, stretch your tailbone to your toes. Yeah, to make it a little more active, press the 4 corners of your feet into the floor. Big toe mound, inner heel, pinky toe mound, outer heel, and lift and spread all 10 toes, or as many as will cooperate. Yeah. Then drag your feet isometrically toward your head. They're not going to move, but you'll feel that engage a lot more. Yeah, the backs of the legs. Can you feel that? So it's kind of a pulling energy, a contractive energy toward a contractive energy toward the shoulders. And then press down, lift your hips a little bit, and press your knees toward your big toes. Press your tailbone, lengthen your tailbone toward your big toes. This is a wonderful opener for the fronts of the hips. Use your elbows a lot. That's part of your foundation. Chin away from chest, eyes look above eyebrows. We want to breathe here. Breathe in, breathe out. Make sure your knees and thighs are parallel. A little adduction there. Squeezing them together a little bit. Really good. And rest. Nice. So the next version would be no block at all. And we'll change the arm position. If you have a strap and you want to make a loop that you can press your arms out against, it can be very helpful. I'll get a strap and show you that. So we're coming close to the end of class. We're just going to finish up this bridge pose and then finish with a child's pose. So you make a loop like this that locks. Yeah. And I'll just show you what it's going to look like. In the bridge, you're going to take it behind yourself and you're going to be able to press your arms out into the loop. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. All right. It's just tricky getting into it. So you're sitting, you put the strap on one arm before you lay back. Put it at the forearm, at the thickest part of your forearm. Come to lie back. The belt is behind you. Press feet, shoulders, back of head, lift your hips. Yeah, and from here, you're gonna press the forearms into the limit of the belt loop. Can you feel how that helps you lift your upper chest a little more, your upper spine? And if you don't feel enough resistance, you can make the loop a little tighter. Again, thighs are parallel, knees are parallel. Option is to lift and spread your 10 toes. Option is to drag your feet back isometrically toward your hips. So see, even though you're holding the pose for 20 to 30 seconds or up to a minute, you can keep yourself very busy doing these contrasting movements, right? The contraction, expansion, hug to the midline, the imaginary line drawn in your center, and then expand out like you're pressing, widening out into the strap. Rooting your feet more to lift your hips more, rooting to rise. Beautiful. And release. Then the full version can be without the strap. Either elbows bent, arms straight, palms pressing, or interlacing your fingers underneath your hips, wriggling your upper arm bones underneath you more. Chin away from chest and gently breathe in. And gently breathe out. And breathe in. And breathe out. One more breath. And rest. And let's finish up with a child's pose and a meditation. So you have a blanket here, perhaps. You have a chair here, perhaps. You can do a supported child like this. You can just come onto all twos. Tuck the toes, your hips will move back toward your heels. Your hands can rest on the chair and bow here. The toes can lay out flat. If it's hard behind the knees, you can roll up a yoga mat or a blanket and place the roll behind your knees. I'll just show you that. You can just make a cylinder to make like a literal spacer behind the knees, like this. And that gives a little more room to the knee joints. This is a lovely stretch for your spine. And again, you would hold this pose for 3 breaths. If you want to know what the next version is, or you can stay in that version, you take a block and your forehead would come to a block, any height that you desire, forehead to floor, and you can have your arms alongside body or arms in front, whatever feels good for you. I have my knees and shins parallel. That feels better for a hip replacement. You could also have your knees open into a V shape and your big toes touching. And then the full out version would be no props, with or without a blanket to cushion your knees. And then Savasana, child's pose. Gently breathe in and gently breathe out. Gently breathe in, gently breathe out. Let your breath move to all parts of your body. As you breathe in, draw in energy. As you breathe out, let go of any stress. So good. And slowly come up. All right, so now you can just come to lie down. We'll do just a 3-minute Savasana meditation combination. So come to lie down. Your feet can be outer hip width apart. You can move any props, so they're not going to be in your way. If you need a little support under your head, place a blanket there. Arms alongside body, palms up, or hands on belly. Maybe nod your head to the left and to the right, finding that very comfortable point of balance for the back of your head. And just gently receive the support of the floor. Mentally give yourself a pat on the back for trying something new today, perhaps. For hanging in through difficult challenges, perhaps. For opening to new ways of self-care, self-nurturing. And gently thank your body for what it was able to do today. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. In, out. In, out. Breathing in, I am in the present moment. Breathing out, I know this is a wonderful moment. Present moment. Wonderful moment. Present moment. Wonderful moment. When you feel ready, you can slowly bend your knees and roll to one side. Then use your hands and bottom shoulder to press yourself gently up to sitting. And in closing, come close to the camera. I want to say namaste. Thank you so much for coming to practice today with me. And here is a bell to close class.
Thank you, Anne. It was great to do a class with you.
You're welcome. Bye.